Hello everyone, my name is Mike Kannyn, and I was just in a car accident last night. I'm fine, everybody's fine, everybody involved was fine, I'm not hurt, no one's injured, no one's dead. Thank God. I'll spare you the details, although it was kind of strange that I just opened up the video with no prior context talking about a car accident. But you'll get my point in a second. In the 24 hours, less than 24 hours following said incident, it's given me some time to reflect. A lot of times in life you get moments like that are instantaneous. Who's that guy that said, some dipshit much smarter than I once said, there's some, decades where nothing happens, and there's some days where decades happen or something like that. And I don't know, one of you fucking schmucks in the comments, go tell me who that was. But anyways, timing. And it's specifically the difference between time and timing. And for one thing, as far as what I mean with time is, we don't control it. We don't control it. And the incident that happened last night, I really didn't have any control over it. It's just something that happens. We don't control time. A lot of time we don't control what happens within it. But we just merely trust it. You and I and everybody else trust that every second will pass, and every minute will pass, and every hour and day and week and month and year and so on. But trust there is the key word, because trust doesn't really hold the same connotation as some other words, namely faith. I think although those words are used kind of synonymously, they hold a bit of a different connotation. To me, trust implies some kind of consistency or evidence or reason or some basis, from which you can put your confidence in something. And at best, it's maybe a relationship, but you can trust in a friend. You know what I mean? You can trust that the sun will rise tomorrow. But do you have faith that you'll be there to see it? Do you have faith that you'll be there tomorrow morning to watch that sunrise? Or that, you don't sleep through your alarm clock, or your alarm clock doesn't go off because the power went out last night, or it's really rainy and cloudy that morning and you don't see it anyway. That's the difference. Whereas faith implies the things unseen. And I mean, you can even extrapolate that, like, yeah, you have trust that the sun will rise, and like I said, do you have faith that you'll see it? Or do you have faith that before it sets, before the sun sets, do you have faith that you will have accomplished everything that you intend to accomplish in that day's time? Anything could happen, right? And another thing is, what's strange is, since I've just moved out here to my new spot, I got my own place after a long time of traveling, and I'll get to that in a sec. And it's just a few weeks ago, not shortly thereafter, when I moved in, I had this very strange feeling, this premonition, this subconscious thing dwelling inside me that I was going to get into a car accident. Didn't know why, didn't know where it came from, and it was usually very fleeting. Like, it would hit me on some days, and other times it wouldn't in my trips between my house and town and so on. But I just felt you're going to get hit. Something's going to happen. I didn't know when, I didn't know how, or to what extent, what extreme. I just knew car accident. And it was hardly ever something that got into the conscious mind. It was very unconscious. It was like a felt thing in the back of my head. It was felt. And at irregular intervals over the last few weeks. But, jeez, it's so cold in here. Fuck. It was like 50 degrees in this house earlier this morning. Get the space heaters out. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so this was something that I was feeling. And as a matter of fact, after I got hit and I was spinning out in the street, I had a completely straight face. I was holding on the wheel like, because I knew. I was like, yep, here it is. It finally happened. I knew it was going to happen. And what was strange is I never told anyone. I never conversed with it about anyone. I never mentioned it. I never said it out loud. It was just always a feeling back here. And it would creep in and then just flee. And it's not the first time it's happened in my life. It's very strange. Because there's been times in the past where, and in recent years it's been less common, but more into my like mid-teenage years, this shit was very common. And it would be for things like very small and seemingly insignificant, and then other things like, like a more big event. But I felt compelled to really sit and reflect on this specific instance because it led to something as intense as a car accident, which has not happened before. But what I mean is, in the past, there have been times where seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, and really only as far as a couple months in advance, I would feel something. And it usually would occur in the middle of me doing something completely irrelevant to what the feeling was. And again, I hesitate to even call it a thought because it was barely conscious. It was just that thing. And then it leaves. And it flees just as quickly as it comes on. And like I said, seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months in advance. And it would be seemingly bear no relevance to what I was in the middle of doing. I could be taking a test. I could be driving. I could be hanging out with a buddy. I could be taking a shit. And just something would... And I'd be like, what is that? Oh, whatever. And then the memories of all the times that I would have those feelings wouldn't register, or they wouldn't come back until the thing happened in front of me, until I witnessed it. And it might be something as simple as this person's going to say a specific thing. Like I hear words that they're about to say, but it doesn't bear relevance. Like those are the instances where it happens seconds in advance. So the instances where it happens seconds or minutes in advance, it might bear a little more relevance because it's closer to the actual moment that it happens. But the other times where it's a much further gap out, it seemingly bears no relevance to the event of when it happens and when I feel it. What I'm doing when I feel it has no relevance. But it could be something as this person's about to say these kinds of words, or they're about to say these specific words, or there's a time like I was watching a show, like this person's going to drop a microphone, or I just feel microphone drop microphone, and then 20 minutes into the show, like a clear, obvious stumble. And it's like, oh, well, that can happen, a coincidence. It's like, okay, sure, you can chalk maybe that one up to coincidence, but why does it keep fucking happening? Why is it like this specific thing where I just feel something and it happens? It occurs so often. And I don't know, it's hard to explain. Maybe some of you people in the comments have experienced something similar, and I would encourage you to please share what you've experienced in the comments. What have you figured out about it? Have you been able to learn about it? Is it something you can channel or get to the root cause of? I don't know. For all of you people who think I'm a fucking schizo, then, that's your prerogative. Go eat another fucking Pop-Tart and have an incredible day. I don't give a fuck. But, yeah, I don't know. This was a really strange, intense version of this phenomenon for me personally. And it's just been a while. So I don't know what to make of it. Don't know what it means. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what it's supposed to do for me or anyone else. I just know that this is a real thing that happens. And it's hard to explain to people because, like I said, it's just a really fleeting thing. And it's like deja vu in reverse or something. I don't know. Because it's not, or a different variation. Like, it's not like I've been here before. It's not that feeling. It's a different kind of familiarity. But the thing is, I can pinpoint the familiarity. So when it does happen, or when the thing that I felt occurs, I can immediately say with certainty, oh, yes, I remember those times when I felt this happening. And it got to the point where it got so much more frequent, and I just got used to it. So then every time a thing would happen that I felt, I was like, oh, there it is again. Huh, what is going on? I don't know, this time was one of those weird times, and aside from that too, I don't know, some of you guys might be able to relate to this thing. Signs. I think I mentioned earlier, I've done a lot of traveling, but signs, like, in a sense of shit that's just way too obvious. Again, stuff you can't chalk up to coincidence, because for those who know, and those who are familiar with what I'm talking about, they know that's how blatantly obvious it is. They know that's how undeniably true it feels when you recognize it and see it. For me, one of the most common ways has been people. I've met total strangers, mostly in my time of travel around the country, the United States, where I've met complete strangers. I shake their hand. I've never met them. I don't know them from Adam. Maybe I just barely get acquainted. I shake their hand. I learn their first name. And then no less than 60 seconds after that, they're talking to me. And now we're talking like they've known me for years. They're starting to say shit about my family where I'm like, how do you know that? I've had that happen on numerous occasions, and they start talking to me, and all of a sudden I'm just sitting there soaking in what they're saying, and I'm like, how do you know this? I'm thinking, where is this coming from? Who are you? Now, I know who it is. Some of you who are watching this, the 20 of you, whatever you're doing right now, maybe you're stocking shelves, maybe I don't know what you're doing. You're driving, you're taking a shit. God bless you. But you know who it is. I just said it. So these are the signs I'm talking about. And again, I've had it as blatant as like an actual road sign or a billboard where I'm like, I do a double take. Like, what did that just say? Is that like a legal thing? How did they put that on the road? Or like, why is the wording on that billboard or this sign like that oddly specific and relevant? You're like, what? But what I've learned is that for everybody, because everybody's relationship with the one who sends these signs and gives you these gifts is different. So everybody receives these things differently due to their own capacities of understanding. Back to the whole trust and timing thing, because this has just been a strange time for me, and I'm sure it has been for nearly everybody on earth with all the crazy shit that's transpired over the last 5 years. I found myself all too often saying, God, I'm running, I'm busy, I'm doing this, I got stuff to do, I'm over here, I got a list, I got shit to do, I'm moving here, I'm moving there, speed, quick, let's go. I got, I don't know, yeah. Okay, yeah, I don't have time right now. Yeah, we can talk later. I don't have time. I'm doing this. Yeah, I know. Thank you, but I gotta, but this, what happened last night told me something. And all this speed, all this that all I've known really since birth is I was told, slow down. As a matter of fact, slow down so much that you stop. And I stopped, all right. I spun out in the middle of the street. Slow the fuck down. And don't tell me that you don't have time for me or that you don't have time. Because first of all, who are you to claim that time is yours? Think about that, those of you watching. Who are you to claim or to think that time is yours on a fundamental level, fundamental, inherent level? And say, well, technically, I can, I go to my boss and I say, well, I demand this wage for my time, for my hour of work. I say, yeah. Take a fucking second, right? Yeah, borrow a second. We're on the topic of time. For once, and just think, hey, let's step out of that the just realist realm, and maybe let's think a little more outside ourselves for once, okay? A little more abstractly, Let's get to some root causes of things and meanings, get out of the solipsistic horse shit. Who are you to claim that time is yours in an inherent fundamental sense? If you, again, I said earlier, we don't control time, we have trust in it. If it's yours, why don't you have complete, total control over it? You don't. So again, who am I to say, yeah, I don't have time? God. Time is his. Time is his, and so is his timing. What happened last night to me in the accident was timing. Timing. So instead of thinking, I don't have time, or, no, this is my time, you can ask yourself instead, how do I use his time that I've been granted? I believe that that's probably a much healthier way for people nowadays, particularly young people who seemingly, well, depending on who you are and what your outlook is, you have a varying degree of what you foresee or forefeel time as ahead of you in your life, how much you have left, you know what I mean? Or how much you've been granted left. But what I mean is, when you are using something that is someone else's, something that's been granted to you, doesn't that make you more accountable in how you spend it, how you share it, what you do with it? I think that really would help more people put it into perspective. It's a healthier way of using it. It's humbling when you know that all this isn't yours. The time isn't yours inherently. The timing isn't yours for certain. And the timing in particular, it's really not for you to know. Anybody who is intellectually or spiritually honest with themselves, is really true and honest with themselves, would agree that it's not for you to know. And for those who are really being intellectually, spiritually honest with themselves, they would also agree that they don't want to know. And for the rest, I think I could handle it. No, you don't. I think there's a word for that, actually. It's called hell. So the minute you think that you're hot shit enough to know those kinds of things, hold on a second. Anyway, this is all to say that this has just kind of been a humbling experience. So what this accident has made me kind of reflect on. And time and timing. You have trust that time is always passing you by, but do you have faith in his timing, in the timing? That's the question. Ask yourselves that. I implore you, I encourage you all to discuss that in the comments below, or tell me to go fuck myself. I really don't care. It's fine. I'll like your comment if you do that. Probably one of you, please tell me to go fuck myself. I'll like your comment. But yeah, I'm all right. I'm living, I'm breathing, I'm not injured. Neither is the other party involved. Thank God. Thank God. And as I said earlier, I just moved to this place, this new place of my own, after pretty much just, you want to talk about time, almost the past 2 years, I've just lived on the road. Lived in a big old truck, driving around the country, kind of aimlessly, just driving around, and I got to see some incredible places and meet some incredible people. But story for another time. We'll get to that. But I'm here now, and I'm starting this shit now. And there's big plans. I have big plans. There's more to come. God knows. And I gotta go. There's a knock at my door. So be well. God bless. I'm out.